Okay, now I'm convinced that maybe we are ready to get the show started. My name is Mthembu, and I have the absolute honor and absolute pleasure of being your host this evening for the launch of Mak Manaka's fourth book, which is fourth collection, which is called Oncoming Traffic. Can you please just give a round of applause to our brother? So I'm the proud owner of this book, and if you are smart, you will quickly right now, then, if you don't have your book, quickly buy a book. Because the last time we were here to launch Khadisa's book, by the time the show was over, the book was sold out, and you don't want to be that person who's just like, I was at the launch, but I didn't get the book, because that kind of really sucks. So you can get the book and you can get it signed afterwards. It's going for 100 Rand right over there. When I got the program for today, I was just like, yes, we are going to have ourselves a good night because the legends have come out to play. As nervous as you look right now. So when I was thinking about my big brothers in the game, this next brother who's going to be first up to sort of introduce or to get us started today is one of those big brothers. Back in the day, like I said, when I was way too young to be attending shows like Sevens, he was part of it. Many names, but tonight I think Common Man was what I was told. So ladies and gentlemen, please can we give mad love for Common Man.
Yo, yeah, Qakaza ONCOMING, we are Qakaza namhlanje, yeah. Qakaza ubusuku sonke is so masibonge. First of all, thank you, Mac, for blessing us once again for the fourth time. When I met Mac, he just was working or still working on publishing his first, I can't remember, but he was 16 years old. And no, you're about get down, man. So, what I done, you know, this guy, you know, so I've been saying for the past almost 20 years, I've seen Mac grow. And he's my big brother too, even though he's much younger than me. You know, we always joke around, or like when he called me, I was like, I Mac. Yeah, because his uncle, you know, used to be, he was a great musician and a great spirit, a great brother that everybody loved. So, you know, and then we laugh about it. But what I'm happy about is Mac's consistency. You know, he's a poet, and he can't help himself. He lives in poetry. That's how he became a big brother and a role model. Because when I grow up, I want to be like Mac. I want to do poetry like full time. You know, all I do is live in the world of words and crazy characters and all of this stuff. And I ask him, how do you do this? Because it's heavy. It's really heavy, considering how much this poultry business has really made people suffer. And as we all know, Mac comes from a tradition of those what we call the Sotho poets, the BC poets, the poets that reminded us of the greatness of Africanness. And I feel humbled and honored to know that there's still hope in the future, that there are younger guys, way younger than Mac. Mac now has nephews since he's now Uncle Mac, you know. But as a bridge between that generation of the 80s and the early 90s and stuff, and as this guy who's a pioneer from a very young age, it's like, wow. So I'm still learning. I'm still hoping to learn some more on how Mac does it. But I will try because he wrote this piece which reminds me of where it all started. I think Mac wrote this piece in the 70s, shortly after 76. You know? Yeah. But on page 46, those of us who have the book, there's a piece that spoke to me. That's the piece that I'd like to read. And this piece is about the nihilism of black data. I don't know if unfortunately Meg I want to talk about the pronunciation. But anyway, This is how it goes. He tries to talk. He tries to talk, but his words do not know him. His words do not exist, but he exists in those words. This data makes no sense. He tries to move, but his mind cannot walk. His feet are not fast enough to outrun the madness of his own words. He loathes the skin he is wearing. His words lost their voice in the guaido of hunger, the hunger of acceptance, but never for self. He runs and rants with holes in his speech and plastic hands too weak to carry the cries of his heritage. Nile in his mind is his mind. He doesn't trust his mother's songs that add memory to his lungs. Dada, stop confusing blackness with poverty. Black, you're on your own, but never alone. Before the sound birthed the rhythm, we ate malamoholi from nature's calabash. Black is not the color of your skin. Black is the sky after the sun sleeps, the music that swallows darkness, your mother's breath of love. Dada, stay black.
Thank you, Mthembu. Common man, Brown, all of the names. So I love how we can, at book launches, say today's reading is taken from page 46. Please turn your Bibles to page 46 and read with us. Yet another reason why, if you do not have yourself a book right now, please make sure you go and get your book so you can read along with us, so you don't miss the gospel, babes. Don't miss this gospel. So now, the amazing thing about lineage, right, ma'am, is that when you come from greatness, like you can't help but be great, né? And the amazing thing as well is that your lineage is not just made up of like your biological parents. And we all know how dope Mac's parents are, right? But now there were people around him as well, as he grew up, who just helped make him even doper. And I am so happy to be calling up the next mama on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, please can we show the maddest love for Sibongile Khumalo, who's coming out.
In the middle, the turbulence surrounding you, these trying times that are so hard to endure. In the middle of what seems to be the hardest times, it's in his hands. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. Like everything that's come before me. He never gives you nothing you'll never have. This too shall pass. Let everything become you. It's in his hands. This too shall pass. And so, as I cast my eyes back to a night in October 2005, Mak Manaka and I had come from a lecture
a mind power lecture from one George Hugh. John, thank you. John Hugh. Nathi bayasinika amagama. I've been Sibongile, 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 you know, so maybe a little job or maybe Joshi, whatever I choose to call it. Anyway, we were sitting in the car, having come back from this lecture at about 11 at night. And this song kept playing on the cassette. And suddenly Nomsa got very restless and Nomsa needed to go inside the house. And I had to go and say, Emma, be away, let's listen to the song. And we played the song and we played it, and as we were playing, I was the bull, Nomsa's Mak Manaka came running to us and said, why? Makumele Olimex. What? Why is it Bobara? No, there's been an accident, etc. And so began a journey that has brought us to this place tonight. I have watched Makumele grow over the years. I have seen Makumele flourish. I have seen Makumele, like all our children, be the child that challenges his adults, his elders, his parents, his mom and dad, his family, his brother, his cousins, all of us in the network. And at the center of all of that has been this woman who has lived to take after her name, Tareke Nomsa. Nomsa. Haori Nomsa igama liphelelanga. Nomsa ufing. Hara Nomsa Manaka aliphelelanga. Nomsa ufing. Ke Nomsa Manaka. And it's very significant that she chose to be Nomsa Manaka. Many of us, our maiden and married names, the assumption is that we are doing it because we need to be all that we are, as we are fighting patriarchy by being Sibongile Ngoma is my father's name anyway. Again, if I want to use my mother's name, Montane is her father's name. So yeah, we need to challenge all of that. So how did this Sibongile what grace when you're doing Hamburg? Nomsa could easily have chosen to be Nomsa Wabaide Manaka, but she chose Bupi Manaka. And so we traversed the last 13 years in a very interesting way where, as Qakaza, if I paraphrase Qakaza, he says, family is not, family, kinship within family is not about the extension or the declining of nature of the family. Family is a concept that embraces the fullness of the kinship, of the brotherhood and the sisterhood. Not because it's an extended family or a smaller hand family, it is family. And Nomsa taught us what that meant. Nomsa, through her taking care of Makumele and his brother Mthembu, through her taking care of her brother's son, through her taking care of her nephew, through her taking care of her mamani and her family, through taking care of all of us along the way, she has taught us Uti. She has taught us how resilient a person she is. it's coincidental that she is a woman. And I suppose it's a great thing that she is a woman. It started there, but it is the human being, the person that she is, that has taught us to appreciate Makumele. Makumele writes in a very lyrical way about the various issues that he talks about in this poetry collection throughout the years when he's actually been writing his poetry. But in this particular one, the one common theme that I picked up, which I found quite fascinating, is how music and the sense of lyricism in music takes center stage. uMakumele ubhala ngengoma ngoba uMakumele ungumngoma. uMakumele ubhala ngengoma ngoba lento ayibhalayo isangoma. Siyabonga ke Nkoni. Siyabonga ukuthi usithathile, usibeke lapha, usihlanganisile. Uqhubeke usihlanganise njalo njengalendlela uba wakho enze ngayo. Ngayo yonke leminyaka. I'm not going to try and be smart and try and be lyrical like that. But I do want to read 2 or 3 lines that kind of hit me. In fact, it's 4 and 8 lines to be exact. Makumele speaks to his father, and I think these are the lines for me that encapsulate who Makumele is or was to become. And Makumele says, how can I forget the look in your voice when my brother told you that I failed a semester, and how you responded? Mokoni never fails. Those words have kept my nerve endings together for that, forever. And in another poem where he sings about the power of poetry of the pavements, he says, I am a boy learning to man up and keep up. If only Father told me, easy does not come easy. You have taught us, we have learned, we will continue to learn from you. We thank you, my son and your boys. Thank you, Tutuze. And thank you, most profoundly, Makumele. Thank you.
I'm going to edit my CV today, guys. I'm going to add in my profile that I have shared a stage with Mthembu, Khumalo. Please take a photo. So there's this rumor that poetry books don't sell, and I'm glad to see a packed room today to dispel this rumor and tell the liars that now you clearly haven't got yourself an update. But all this time when this rumor has been going around, there have been some people who have been publishing poetry books and have been believing in poetry. The next time I'm about to call out is one such man. Please can we welcome with so much love Allan Horwitz of Bototo Publishers, who is also the power behind this book, the publisher of Oncoming Traffic. Allan?
All right, greetings everyone. It's a great pleasure for Bototo to receive a manuscript, right? A manuscript that immediately you know, hey, there's power here. There's coherence here, there's originality, there's an attempt to deal with our reality as South Africans. And the beauty of Mac's work, and I've known him for some time and followed his work, is that, as Qakaza said, he hits hard. At the same time, the language is subtle. The language is subtle. And his mastery of English is amazing. There are a few poems in Setswana and one or two in Sezulu. Substantially, he turned the colonial language into something that he owns, something that has his power. And at Potsotso, we started as a group of performance poets in 1994. Ike Moneni Muila, Isabella Motedinyana, Sikire Kangwenya, myself. And we started to publish in the 90s because there was a vacuum. Coastal fell apart, Starfrider disappeared. We said as poets, we need to take the responsibility to keep publishing. Otherwise, we have this false distinction between performance poetry and academic and written poetry. He said is a lie. Poetry on the stage, poetry on the page belong together. When we find a poet like Mac, like Kamela, and I said to him, you used to be known as Mac. Makamela Mele is a beautiful name. Why didn't you use it to start with? He said, no, it was just easier. I think they had a bit more rhythm. But I see today he's changed his view, which is a good one. And to come back to this false distinction between performance poetry and poetry to be read. I think really the essence of poetry is rhythm. So even when you're reading quietly, let your voice sound it out. And that rhythm will take you into the meaning, because the meaning otherwise can be hidden. Now these poems are very subtle, as I said. They require concentration. It's not something that it's a quick thing like you're reading the Star or the Daily Sun. These are poems to consider. Mak Khumalo says, there are certain lines that stay in the mind. Now as an editor, we get a lot of poetry. Most of it, I must say, is for another day. Certain manuscripts stand out. And I think it's important to mention that at Rhodes, and I think that name should be changed, Rhodes University, there's a new department of creative writing. And Robert Berrold and others, they opened the doors to poets who didn't have degrees, but who actually would benefit from the supervision and advice of a master's program. And this really powerful collection comes out of that MA program. And many other poets who were in Mac's position were given that opportunity. Because really to study and do an MA is to have a year of editorial feedback. And he had the feedback of Yosefo Ramkolokeng, Beryl himself, and others. And so truly, when we received the manuscript, it was 99% there. Although I must add, I was a bit apprehensive. I mean, Mac is a little bit of an ego, like all poets. I said, whoa, this is going to be tough. Because when I express myself honestly, and of course you have to be a truthful poet as I am myself, is he going to kick back and say, hey, who the hell are you to tell me this line or this image isn't original or isn't sufficiently powerful to convey the idea? But I was very pleasantly surprised. We sat down at my dining room table, quite a number of mornings, we engaged, we had tea and coffee. No beer allowed. And we really got into each poem, discussed it, sucked the marrow of each poem. So for me as an editor, it was a pleasure. It was really an enjoyable and enlightening experience to engage with that and say, hey, this is South African poetry at its best. So thank you, Mac, for the opportunity to publish. and go forward, and I'm sure there'll be many, many more volumes. And thank you all for coming. And please do support poetry in the sense of buying poetry, because that's our struggle. And we must again thank African Flavor, for this is a very unique spot in Joburg. You know, we had Jara Books down in Newtown, unfortunately that. So now at least we've got African Flavor. Let's support it so that African literature can grow and develop. So thanks again and enjoy your copies.
But you must go together. But you must go together. But you must go together. Over. Siakalinganism. Siakana. Siapelinganism. Siapela. Must go together. Must go together. Sie apige kaya. Siakana. Siakalingana. Siakana. Siakalinganism. Siakana. Masivisa. Bati masipagame. Masivisa. Bati masipagame. Masipagame. Namstanje. Siatuchura. In my country, education is dangerous. Higher learning guns shoot young tongues with curriculums they cannot afford. Uniformed blue orders shamelessly tear gas dreams and barricade innocent pages with barbed wires of rage. Africa, I wonder if people who wield power have children too. And do they also swallow the same tubes? Families on the periphery, barely breaking bread and barely making pavements meet, forced to pay fees for clustered classrooms, for overworked and underpaid teachers with not enough textbooks. Africa, for how long will this power crucify the truth about whose culture is really tilling our soil? I feel like the only black on our flag, isolated and stifled by other colors, because in my country, even my skin is illiterate. Dumalang Africa. I am sure I'm quite audible, eh? Yeah. Well, I don't need the microphone. Yeah, can somebody please remove this weapon of mass destruction, please? I do a bit from Africa, you know. Thank you for being here, Ganabocha, so much for actually coming. This next poem is very interesting. If you're a 9-to-5er, you will relate. The sun mumbles its way past a thick layer of taxi rank laughter and cuts into the melanin of migrant bees shuffling through the bittersweet blues of yesterday's news. Wingless birds sing of cages running on borrowed muscle, the sultry struggle of the mid-month hustle. Yo, what do you? Wobbling wheels weighing time. Bona, traffic is life at this corner of sunrise. 9 to 5, 9 to 5, 5 to cloud 9, 9 to 5, 5 to cloud 9, through the debts, past the heat of long lines, from Monday to December. From Monday to December, endless debit orders crash on my lover's legs and tombstones have faced. Oh. At the blackest sound, just before the sun stumbles past humble curtains, I watch my lover once more swallow the music of death. Yeah, no, you know what? It's not that long, you know, but the poem is pretty long on its own. Well, you know, sure, 9 to 5 happens, you know, some people find themselves in jobs they don't want to do, they find themselves dragging their feet just to make ends meet, essentially, you know, and they're not happy in their jobs, and morale is very low. I mean, it's quite clear that if people back at ESCOM are not happy, we're going to have load shedding the whole year, you know. I mean, it's not a matter of what ESCOM owes, whatnot. No. ESCOM owes its workers, ultimately, to increase their salaries. You know, everything in this country keeps on going up. Petrol, let's not touch petrol, really. You know, bread, cold drink, everything. I mean, you know, vodka, cigarettes, beer, everything keeps going up except for people's salaries. So you can imagine how expensive it is to live in Johannesburg, you know, and it's even more so expensive as an artist, because art life is no easy life in Africa, especially when you have a family, you know, and when you make a living out of art, you have to have a thick skin. You know, I mean, I've got beautiful skin, but trust me, it is too thick. Because, hey, you know, when they want you as an artist, right? When they want you, they will hunt you down in Matakotol, you know, and you actually conclude the deal and send them invoices, and you do the deal. You know, you perform your heart to the moon, and the moon to your soul. But when it's time for them to pay up on time, hey, I mean, you have to really seriously sort of be on the phone, keep calling and keep calling. I mean, being an artist in South Africa is very hazardous, to be honest, because it's hurry up and wait. That is your job, to hurry up and wait. And this next poem is called Waiting for Sanity. And I wrote it for Mthembu here, and Papa Rams, who's not here but is here in spirit. I mean, his sons are here, you know. And if anything, Lesotho Rampuluking is the one that actually helped put this collection together. This was my thesis for Rhodes, Africa, you know, and bless you, be blessed, you know. The canvas is patient. The canvas is patient. It anticipates the waiting. It knows how to wait. The violent waiting of a promise and the two-faced silence that comes with patience. The canvas remembers, Africa. The canvas remembers. It waits for walls to remember. The waiting of a lie and the masks behind the waiting. Ha! The canvas bleeds the patience of always waiting. It bleeds the patience of always waiting, waiting to swallow the sleepless hunger in the eyes of its infant colors. Waiting, waiting to be called. Waiting to be called. Waiting for money that has no legs. Waiting for days that cannot stand. Waiting for a shot that cannot warm the soul. Waiting. Always waiting, waiting, always waiting. Ikupa Beti Ikupa Beti Akunwa Ikupa Beti Utu Ela Mauban Ikis Sanwi Ikuba Eti Akunwa Ikuba Eti Utu Ela Mauban Ikis Sanwi Selila menka pese pula kinyuru letalo ya chula garo churu Selila menka pese pula kinyuru letalo muki madi ki botlo le fatse ki metsi ki botshelo botshelo ki lusu Modimu Kinyori Badimuri Nyori Kikopa metsi Baile kai Baile kai It's very keen in your eyes Baile Ikuba Beti Akunwa Ikuba Beti Utu Ela Maua Niki Sanwi you know, I have to be honest, a lot of the poems in here, the reason why it's called, well, the reason why the title came to me, Oncoming Traffic, is because, you know, you know, just because you find yourself in a situation doesn't necessarily mean that you can't actually change that situation to the better. Or you can't actually envision it to be better in your life, essentially, you know. And given the turmoils, given the that one has had to experience, and not only just myself, but with my family too, you know, given all the trials and tribulations that we've had to swallow, and joys too, of course, and happiness and laughter. I mean, you know, and and this is a poem for every man in here who was raised by a mother. This is a poem for every boy who was raised by a mother. And being that boy, living in a time where it actually is very interesting, it's very difficult to understand what is manhood. You know, when men do not man no more. It's very hard to actually know what does it mean to be a man. Silence in literature. I am sorry, Mama. I cannot tell you what you want to hear. I can see my fear in your eyes. Your tongue, like my feet, cannot stand the words that steal my ground. I am trying, Mama. I am trying. Sometimes I lose myself to question marks that ask, whose blood will carry this line. I am sorry, Mama. I am sorry. Some words cannot outrun reality. They do not allow us to exhale what we want to say. Yeah, it's a little bit heavy for me from Africa. You're gonna have to excuse me. It's very heavy for me too. So a lot of the poems in here are exactly that, oncoming traffic. Because you can't stand in the middle of the road and expect the car not to hit you. It's coming at you. Don't try it. You know, so that's the lane. And let the next generation actually come through and change what's up. Alright. So, Kenna Makumele Wakafa Pukutim Pate. Kibela Wakela Patona Sepala Pusikum Chekala Chavalo, Kenna Manakamu, Mina Santa Kane, Watopa, and Humanikara. This is a poem for my brother, for my brothers actually. Oh, I am choosing. He's very shy. You know, yeah, he's hiding here. But this is a poem for both my brothers, actually for all my brothers ultimately. You know, and my sisters, for everyone. My grandmother used to say, you know, life is war. Just because you deserve it doesn't mean you're gonna get it. So you must fight for it ultimately. If it means that you know, I don't actually have to wait for doctors to tell me that I can walk or do anything of that sort. I did it. And I'm doing it. You know, it's possible. I am that bird that flies backwards hoping to touch sunrise. There is no shame in failure, my son. There is no shame in failure. Shouts my grandmother from misplaced. Shouts my grandmother from feathers misplaced in today's flight. Bophelo ke ntwa. Bophelo ke ntwa. A war zone in the mirror. Self is the enemy. I am that bird. I am that bird that flies backwards through barriers of grandfather's clouds, hoping to find my place. Hoping to find my place on this page. And since you guys are here, I feel like I'm getting closer to finding that place on the page. Hey there, pinch, homeless in your home. Hey, homeless in your home. Let me help you stand. I know that it's hard. I know it's been hard. But tomorrow's in your hand. Tomorrow's in your hand. Hey there, pinch, homeless in your home. So let me help you stand. I know that it's hard. I know it's been hard. But tomorrow's in your hand. Tomorrow's in your hand. Oh, black God of black truth. To be homeless at home, even our hope is under siege. How long must the colorless arrogance continue to bleach the black speech with bare halls of amnesia, always expecting us to jive to the jive, this unforgiving jive, this pale, paced and impaling jive of move on, let's get along. Move on how? When the marrow of black days still choke on white bones, when so many idioms inside the sad soil remain rearranged and relocated, when black waters keep disappearing and descending deeper into the open grave, passing burials of black songs, digging and drilling the nothingness in search of bophelo. Our Africa, our Qakaza, How many times should black roses assume the position while gutless ears pretend the flaring silence does not exist? But something happened. Something, really, something is happening. We all know there's something wrong in this Tanzania. Hey there, bitch, homeless in your home. Oh, that's fine. So let me help you stand. I know that it's hard. I know it's been hard. But tomorrow's in your hand. Tomorrow's in your hand. Oh, black man of black pain. For how long must you be homeless at home? How much of you do you even own? Why must blackness always begin with defeat? Hey there, hey there, Tuan. You were not a fool. Remember who you are. I know that it's hard. I know it's been hard. But don't stop now and go. Don't stop now and go. Don't stop now and go. Hey there, please. You were not alone. Remember who you are. I know that it's hard. I know it's been hard. But don't stop now and go. 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 Yeah, very mshaba na wewe wako. And what's more mshaba kile rato. You know, if you don't have love for self, then you don't have love for the land. And it's the first thing that they wanted us to not remember. Them that sing on corners of destiny, right? Them that put you in 9 to 5, 5 to cloud 9, I'm ready. You know? And there's nothing as pure in this world as love. Honestly. There's nothing as real and as true as love. And since Nakile Mokoni, you put this one, give our loan, the Batabi. You put them off, you put the game for fun. Marabu, whenever I can say, I have one again. And there's not a guy, he said, the one is for her. For her. Yeah, for her. Badi mubang kutui. Badi mubang kutui de Afrika. Mwate wa male wa kwa mole mapati mokalo le me kere badi mubang kutui le. Masiyama kopa untetse. Nete ke se retse go tshelwa ke sempego o se fele pelo ba bo tshelwa bo gata ditoro ke tsoga ke sena matlamafu hey Moshibudi morata le rato ke re ntshepe man hey Moshibudi morata le rato ntshepe na ke le bana ke tshipi ya tha Molatela se khametse le khotlo la barolong mo ja thapileng pofana ke tlhantlhagala ya mmele re ke re Moshibudi ntse Tsilisano ga e bonolo mo Afrika mantle Tsilisano ga e bonolo le lapa la berekelwa kere le lapa la berekelwa kutlwano ke le nyalo mo dari no nyana le godimo ke re khomo tsame ke ditiro khomo tsame ke ditiro ratola mafoko alo. Ratola mafoko alo. Ari te boge ka tlotlo fa re nwa ditshego tsa Ari te boge ka tlotlo fa re nwa ditshego. Bona. Sa bosigo. Hey. Makubutselo motswara tladi molala ke re ba di mo bang kutlwile maAfrika. Makubutselo motswara tladi molala ke re ba di mo bang kutlwile. Mapiti ya maloba ga santswantse ya motlengwana. Moshibudi ngwatle ya Themba. Moshibudi ngwatle ya Themba. O makgetla lefatshe la. Right on. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Hey, you know what? For every male poet that's in the house, we all know that we are only truthful when we declare our love. You know, hand to hand. Everything else is okay. We are actually fighting the social, getting the status quo. You know, we are actually trying to let's carry on. But as Dr. Bosma Kasela once said that armed struggle is an act of love. You know, and Fela Kuti once said that only heaven would want struggle and feel. So, Sako Shakila role in Africa. You know, Moshito to the page. So this poem here is for me. I dedicated it to me. You know, I mean, you'll see a lot of poems are saying for someone, for somebody, for blah blah blah, right? And I thought, you know what? Why can't I thank myself really? You know, and pat myself on the back and say, hey, my boy, hey, Binji, waspana orozamile, you know? And I urge all of you guys to do that, really. Look in the mirror and say, I'm home. Okay, I mean, there's nobody who can tell you how to love yourself, when to love yourself, or if you even love yourself or not. You know, I get it from women. You know, let's take care of ourselves. You know, since the enemy is in the mirror, let us really look hard and take care of ourselves. Africa, before I do this poem, I actually would like to thank, before I thank myself in this poem, so I'd like to thank, firstly, Brahelepi Yalaboha. This guy's name is Fortescue and he's very proud of that name, by the way. So, Kinga for African flavor, because I'm super excited that for once my books actually have a home. You know, for once. The literature of South Africa has a home. You know, the literature of Africa has a home. And until we actually really learn how to address our own issues as people, then such a thing as South African literature does not exist. It's a myth. You know, so I'd like to thank you, honestly, for actually allowing us to be here and for having me shout. You know, you know, and okay, Mama's boys for the catering. They came late, but you know, in Africa you are never late, you're always on time. I don't subscribe to African time, I don't understand what that is. If you are here, you are here. If you are not, you are not. Really. There should be no excuses. You know, tell no lies and claim no easy victories, as Cabral said. So there should be no easy victories, there should be no excuses, seriously. My brother is here, Nosi Vilagazi. This is, Nosi is actually the grandson of Strike Villagers. You know? And he's sitting with food. So, Nosi Pinchi. And King Gimbali. I'd like to also thank Mbali for the wines too, you know, and Ndate Joe Chakela for also providing the wines, you know, and not forgetting the people who are in the sky delivering vodka to God. Thank God, honestly, you know, and also Allan for having the patience to deal with an egotistic punk such as self, you know, honestly, for having that time, for allowing me to sweat all over your coffee and your table, really. Yeah, sure, for doing that. Thank you very much for seeing something potential in oncoming traffic, rather, in the work here, you know. It's not easy to publish a book, Masrika. It's not easy to actually even string a couple of words together to articulate your innermost demons, secrets, pains, and joys, you know? It's not an easy thing to do. And I'm very grateful that somebody saw potential and said, hey man, this should not be just for Yahoo. Everybody needs to have it, because your pain, your joy, your happiness is not just Yahoo Fela. It's for all of us, you know? I am because we are because I am. And you know, I'm so tired, and I'm happy, I'm nervous, I'm sweating, I'm so many things at once, you know, and this would not, it wouldn't happen, to be honest with you, if it wasn't for my lady, you know. I mean, there's nothing as important as family, Mafrika. Really, there's nothing as important as family. No matter how disconnected we might feel, no matter how disconnected we may be, but there's always that cord that brings us together, because bloodlines never lie. Bloodlines never. They don't lie, you know? And I'm thankful really for Morata Lerato, you know. Because a lot of the poems would not happen had it not been for her. So bad, I'm Africa. So bad. This book is going for 100 rands. Yeah, today fair. I mean, you come tomorrow, it might be a different price. Really. It's 100 rand for launch price, really. And what's very nice about the launch price is that I'm here alive, and my hands, fingers, feet, mind, soul still works. So I'll sign it for you. That in 50 years to come, you'll tell them, Korea, Vele, Kimoboni, unsign it. Here's proof. And I thank you, Opela, all of you guys being here, really. I mean, please give yourselves a round of applause. Mokone wanchi dukolo mai wakopala. Mokone mina tanta kane. Mokone wammane boko. I'm calling my father, my grandfather, and my great-grandfathers. And to them I say thank you too. I want to unfold my heart into a calabash and pour life onto my toes. Rain with the sky and dance on wet roads with Buddha in my bones. I want to pull down idle walls inside my spinal cord and rebuild recording rooms for muscles that forgot how to talk. Teach my crutches how to unclasp my legs when Pula liberates the Mvira in my walk. Oh, nah. Hey. I want to dig a grave. I want to dig a grave for slender nights that carry earthquakes of mother's cancer cries. Unlearn the wine of pride and marimba Pula to my brother's heaven. I want to speak with horns on my tongue. I want to speak with horns on my tongue, pushing rivers out my palms with the rhythms of Paco and standing on Khan's shoulders, shouting, Bula, Bula, Bula.